Now we'll discuss Bitcoin, XRP, and Shiba Inu prices. My ladies and gentlemen, will Bitcoin's price rise to $80,000 in the coming days, or should we expect another crypto market correction?
Let's begin by discussing the Bitcoin price. We'll cover new trading opportunities, both long and short positions, and we'll also discuss key economic events that are likely to drive significant movements in the crypto market over the next few days.
What exactly have we been discussing with you about the Bitcoin price? We talked in our previous videos that a blue line passes right here, and this blue line, it is actually a trend line, and precisely now the Bitcoin price has stopped right near this blue line. What does this imply for us? It suggests that either in the upcoming days we'll experience a corrective movement in Bitcoin's price, heading back towards a minimum of 62,500 and possibly even dropping to 55,000. Alternatively, it could signify that we might see a significant upward trend towards 80 or even 84,000. Just as I mentioned to you at the very beginning of this video, what exactly will this be connected with? Let's take a closer look. Today, the latest unemployment data is coming out. For the Federal Reserve to consider lowering its key interest rate in the immediate future, we would actually need to see unemployment numbers go up. However, for the economy, this won't be very good news. So yes, if unemployment has increased, the American stock index could react negatively to this today. But this is, let's say, a positive development for the Federal Reserve. If unemployment data suddenly dropped, then that's a positive development and perhaps even a positive development for the crypto market. Moving on, what else is truly important? On Wednesday, March the 11th, inflation figures are going to be released. This right here is a very crucial event. If inflation has risen, meaning it will be higher than 2.4%, that will be a negative event for the crypto market. However, if inflation has dropped, that will be a positive event for the crypto market. What else is important to consider? The Federal Reserve's data is also important. These figures are released on March 18th. Specifically, will the Fed lower interest rates or not? Due to the escalation that has begun between Iran and the United States, there is a possibility that the Fed will not lower the interest rate. And at the press conference, they might state that inflation could potentially rise because of the conflict's escalation. Therefore, they will be very cautious in their decisions, and most likely they will only reduce the interest rate in the summer, either in June or in July. But we'll find that out on the 18th. What else is important? Just in case Bitcoin's price keeps falling, let's review where the support levels are. They're between 70,000 and 55. Then the next support zone is at 55 and 40,000, 45 and 40. And then the main support is at 29 and 20,000. Let's zoom in on this situation and look at it in more detail. So if Bitcoin's price doesn't hold this purple line, remember we discussed in previous videos that these red lines are resistance lines. They were between $75,000 and $69,200. Currently, as you can see, Bitcoin's price has stopped at them after this rally. And if Bitcoin fails to maintain its position above this purple line, which is approximately $62,260, then its price will inevitably decline. It will break through this established trend that is currently forming, and it will drop back down to this specific point at the very least, if not even lower. But if we manage to break through these red lines upwards, remember I told you that I plan to open new trades once Bitcoin's price consolidates above the blue line. That means I'll also open new long trades for altcoins, but I haven't opened them yet because there's still a possibility of a correction. What is this other blue dotted line that you see here? This is a completely different trend. I've just switched the chart to a weekly perspective, and here you can see these other red lines. These red lines tell us that there's a resistance line in this area. It's at $84,000 and $91,000. So remember, at $84,000, there's a resistance line. So if the price rises and breaks through this blue line, there's a chance it will simply go down again from there. This line is a resistance line. Just look at how it was, for example, in 2023. So these red lines, we also had a blue line here, which indicated a falling trend. That was 2022. I apologize. And the Bitcoin price, as you can see in the future, breaks through these red lines and moves upwards. Do you see? But when it fell, it moved away from these red lines, going down. That's the essence of these red lines. Therefore, in the near future, we need to be careful because oil is also rising and American indices are at their peak. The most important thing is that the escalation between Iran and the US doesn't become any larger. But in the coming days, we will already see some movement. Perhaps we might see a significant movement because of the inflation data. All right. We discussed the support zones. If there is a correction that is a corrective move, $55,000 plus the support zone is at $45,000 and $40,000. So these are all potential entry points for long positions if a correction occurs. That is, if the price drops, you can try to open a long position. If it drops further, we can try from here to open a long position, speculating that the price will break the blue line in the future. What is happening with the XRP exchange rate? As you can see, XRP is practically not moving. It's simply undergoing a sideways movement. These red lines are playing their role again. See, they are a resistance line. The XRP price rose a few days ago and stopped there. So there's significant resistance there. They are between $1.42 and $1.59. So until XRP breaks these red lines, there's a chance that the price will keep going down. But if we take into account that Bitcoin is going to move upwards, then XRP will also break through its critical resistance levels, just like all other altcoins. If Bitcoin starts to climb, XRP will certainly follow Bitcoin's lead. However, if Bitcoin experiences a decline, we are well aware that altcoins will also inevitably fall. Indeed, XRP's support levels are located right here, as we previously discussed, at $1.28. Then XRP has further support levels here at $1.13. These are the zones you're going to need if Bitcoin undergoes a correction down to $50,000, or let's say Bitcoin falls to 40,000. This means XRP has strong support levels right here. Let me just zoom in for you. If you haven't seen the last video, watch it. We discussed this in more detail. Basically, regarding these support zones, nothing has changed. All that's left is to wait for Bitcoin's price. Will it break out upwards or not? From a global perspective, you see XRP is below the blue line, meaning it's below its downtrend. We need XRP to close above the blue line for its trend to change. Take a look at what's happening with the Shiba Inu price. We've talked about how Shiba Inu has historical support right between these two green lines, and Shiba Inu is actually holding up quite well. What I mean is it's not falling very much. And the reason it's not falling much is because it had already dropped quite a bit before, especially when you compare it to Bitcoin. The situation for Shiba Inu looks exactly the same as for 95% of altcoins, meaning 95% of altcoins have dropped by approximately 95%. You see, Shiba Inu is currently at a historical support level. Right here, right now, Shiba Inu is positioned, if you look at a historical support level from which it has always grown. There. Now, everything will be decided in Bitcoin. So, will Bitcoin break its blue line? Will it go into one in? Will it move up to the next blue line or not? If it succeeds, then Shiba Inu will of course also go up. If we look at the short term, you see the red lines will be resistance lines, no? 6, 6, 8 and 5, 9, 7. This means the market is currently in a neutral phase because there's a possibility of further escalation between Iran and the United States. And there's still a chance for a correction. That is, if Shiba Inu, if Bitcoin suddenly drops, then orient yourselves roughly along these lines. So if Bitcoin falls to $50,000, Shiba Inu will be approximately here, 369. Or let's say if Bitcoin were to drop to $40,000, then Shiba Inu would find itself approximately here, 257. These then are your support levels. You might want to take a screenshot for a potential correction, but sooner or later this decline will end. And this situation has been ongoing for quite a significant period now. That is, we've been experiencing a downturn for a year, even longer specifically when it comes to altcoins. And sooner or later, I personally lean towards the scenario where we'll soon see a market reversal and everything will eventually go up. But at this point, there's a further likelihood of a larger, so to speak, escalation, which will lead to even higher oil prices. And this could slightly push down the American index further and could also slightly push down the crypto market. The crypto market has already fallen very sharply. There's practically nowhere left for it to fall. Of course, there is still some room to fall, but